On April 28, 2016, the newly relocated Los Angeles Rams selected quarterback Jared Goff with the #1 overall pick in the NFL Draft. Less than 2 weeks earlier, the Rams had acquired that selection by sending a king's ransom of picks to the Tennessee Titans. In total, 19 players were directly or indirectly acquired through this trade. Let's track the progress of this transaction by using a trade tree. Let's start with the Rams. In 2015, the Rams finished 7-9, missing the playoffs in head coach Jeff Fisher's 4th year. By that point, not qualifying for the playoffs was nothing new for St. Louis. After the fall of the legendary Greatest Show on Turf offense, the once mighty Rams became Lambs, not playing in a single playoff game since 2005 and consistently finishing as one of the worst teams in football. After a number of injuries derailed #1 overall pick Sam Bradford's career, the Rams were in the market for a top passer. Another reason why the Rams wanted a top-tier quarterback was because of their recent relocation back to Los Angeles. When the NFL gave the Rams controversial approval to leave St. Louis and return to LA, upper management immediately recognized the need to acquire a top passer to generate interest. Needing a QB, the Rams first looked to the 2016 draft. The only problem was that the top-rated passers, Jared Goff from Cal and Carson Wentz from North Dakota State, were mocked to go way before the Rams' pick at 15. Looking to make a splash, GM Les Snead and head coach Jeff Fisher shocked the NFL world by offering the Titans a huge haul to acquire the #1 overall pick. In all, LA sent Tennessee their 1st-round pick, 2 second-round picks, and a 3rd from the 2016 draft. The Rams gave up their 2017 first and 3rd-round picks as well. In addition to the 1st overall pick, the Rams received a 4th and 6th-rounder from the deal. The move was bold, but LA was confident they drafted the next big thing at quarterback when they selected Jared Goff 1st overall. Standing at 6'4" and weighing 215 pounds, Goff seemed like a prototypical top quarterback prospect. Goff left Cal a year early after thoroughly rewriting their history books. Possessing pinpoint accuracy and having great pocket awareness, the quarterback was immediately marketed as one of the faces of the franchise. The Rams weren't done making trades in the draft though, as they sent the acquired 4th-round pick to Chicago in exchange for the Bears' 4th and 6th-round selections. LA used the 4th on South Carolina wide receiver Pharoh Cooper and the 6th on wide receiver Mike Thomas from Southern Miss. The Rams used their other 6th-round selection on TEMARRICK Hemingway, a tight end out of South Carolina State. Team management exited the draft content with the work that they had done. How did the 4 players perform? Well, let's start with TEMARRICK Hemingway. Hemingway spent 2 seasons with the Rams before being released prior to the 2018 season. He was cut without ever recording a catch. Mike Thomas stayed on the Rams roster for almost half a decade. In his LA career, Thomas was only able to pull in 10 catches for 144 yards and no touchdowns. Even with little production though, Rams coaches liked the 5th-rounder's special teams play enough to allow him to finish his contract. Pharoh Cooper had a whirlwind 3-year Rams career. After an unspectacular rookie season, Cooper took over the kick and punt return job full-time in 2017. He immediately thrived, leading the league in return yards in a season where he was a Pro Bowler and named first-team All-Pro. Unfortunately, in the wild card, Cooper had 2 early miscues that led to the Rams losing 26-13. Yeah, the Rams made the postseason. We'll definitely talk about that in a little bit. In week 1 of the 2018 season, Cooper sustained a serious ankle injury that required surgery. When Pharoh finally returned in week 11, his numbers were close to league average. In a move that showed just how ruthless NFL teams can be, LA released the former All-Pro to make room on the final playoff roster. In the years following, Cooper was never able to regain his 2017 form, bouncing around from the Cardinals, Bengals, Panthers, and Giants. Now to the centerpiece of the trade tree, Jared Goff. Goff's 5-year Rams career had some of the highest of highs and the lowest of lows. The QB had a nightmare rookie campaign in 2016. Although Goff only played in the final 7 games, his shortcomings were magnified as he often appeared flustered and was slow reading defenses. The 1st overall pick threw more interceptions than touchdowns in his 7 winless starts. Fans and media were already calling him a bust. The Rams only won 4 games in their disastrous first year back in SoCal. The Rams attempted to remedy their problems by hiring Washington's 30-year-old prodigy offensive coordinator Sean McVay as head coach. The young coach immediately turned the team around, going 11-5 and winning the NFC West with the league's top offense. With Todd Gurley tearing apart defenses, Jared Goff caused damage by picking apart what was left. The quarterback led the league in yards per completion, and finished top 5 in passing yards and passer rating, en route to a Pro Bowl alternate selection. Goff thrived in McVay's system, showing that he could be a successful NFL quarterback. Although the young Rams lost in the wild card to Atlanta, the future looked bright in LA. Statistically, Jared Goff had his best year as a Ram in 2018. Goff had career highs in all major passing categories. Although Jared was named to his first outright Pro Bowl and among league passing leaders, a problem emerged late in the year. Todd Gurley became less effective due to an emerging chronic knee injury. With Gurley in check, defenses turned their focus squarely on Goff. The young quarterback struggled to cope with the extra attention. The Bears exposed the flaw, forcing Goff to throw 4 interceptions in an embarrassing 15-6 Sunday Night Football loss. Still, the Rams completed the season 13-3 and earned the NFC's 2 seed, entering the playoffs as a Super Bowl favorite. In the divisional round, the Rams held on to beat the Cowboys 30-22. Controversially though, LA defeated the Saints in overtime to set up a matchup with the New England Patriots in Super Bowl 53. In the game, Bill Belichick completely shut down the Rams' high-powered offense. The Pats won 13-3, humiliating LA in the process. New England's defense toyed with Goff throughout the game. Instead of rising to the occasion, Goff shrunk in the biggest possible moment. After the Super Bowl loss, Jared Goff was just never the same. Goff's play fell off in 2019. The QB attempted 65 more passes, but threw 10 less touchdowns and 50 fewer yards. LA went 9-7 and missed the playoffs. Goff didn't play flat out terribly in 2020, but he failed to elevate the team in any way. The Rams beat the Seahawks in the wild card, but fell to the Packers in the divisional round. In early 2021, Rams higher-ups realized that if they wanted to lift the Lombardi, they would have to upgrade the quarterback position. In a blockbuster move, LA traded Jared Goff to the Lions along with a 2021 third-rounder, 2022 first, and 2023 first in exchange for Lions quarterback Matthew Stafford. In 2021, Goff had some really bad moments in a 3-win year with the Lions. In his second year, he improved a lot, leading the Lions to the cusp of the playoffs and being selected as a Pro Bowl alternate. Immediately following the trade, some wondered if Stafford, a player who had never won anything in the NFL, was the right quarterback to lead the Rams to the Super Bowl. In the regular season, Stafford dazzled, finishing with close to 5,000 passing yards, 41 touchdowns, and a passer rating just north of 100. LA went 12-5, once again winning the NFC West. In the wild card, they steamrolled the Cardinals. The next week in Tampa, the Rams got revenge on Tom Brady by defeating his 1-seed Bucs 30-27. In the NFC title game, the Rams beat the rival Niners to advance to Super Bowl 56. Playing at home, LA finally realized their championship dream by defeating the Bengals 23-20. Stafford threw the game-winning touchdown to Cooper Kupp with less than a minute and a half left. The veteran quarterback overcame all of the naysayers to finally deliver a championship. In 2022, the Rams were hit with a serious Super Bowl hangover. Matt Stafford played in only 9 games due to injuries, as the Rams inverted their record from the previous year, going 5-12, missing the playoffs. As of April 2023, this side of the trade tree is up to date. Matthew Stafford has been cleared to return, so we'll see how he and the Rams look as they attempt to bounce back in the 2023 season. Overall, the Rams side of the trade tree is just really weird. TEMARRICK, HEMINGWAY, and Mike Thomas had little impact on the team as a whole. Despite Pharoh Cooper's fantastic 2017, he's remembered by Rams fans as the guy that fumbled away the Falcons' playoff game. Jared Goff's true value during his time with the Rams is quite enigmatic in itself. He had some absolutely terrible moments, and the premium paid to get him prevented the Rams from building through the draft. But at the same time, Goff led the league's top offense for 2 consecutive seasons, and also made enough plays for the Rams to get to their first Super Bowl in 17 years. Although he wasn't ultimately the guy, Goff certainly helped give the Rams a California identity. And it's not like any of the quarterbacks that were taken behind him have had an overwhelmingly better career. The saving grace of this trade tree is Goff being used to land Matthew Stafford. Since the Rams won the chip, not much criticism can be thrown at the move, even though it was a large contributor in 2022's sharp decline. In my opinion, although the initial trade for Jared Goff didn't live up to expectations, the Rams' ability to use Goff as an asset made this trade a delayed success. Let's see how the Titans fared on their side of the trade tree. We already know that the Titans received a large haul from the Rams for their 2016 first overall pick. How Tennessee earned that selection in the first place, though, warrants more explaining. After a disheartening 2-14 campaign in 2014, the Titans drafted decorated Oregon quarterback Marcus Mariota with the second overall pick in the 2015 NFL Draft. Mariota showed flashes of promise in his rookie year, but it wasn't enough to prevent the Titans from ending with a league-worst 3-13 record. Following the season, recently promoted head coach Mike Mularkey and first-time GM John Robinson teamed up to construct an old-school, run-heavy football team. Confident in Marcus Mariota, the Titans had no interest in picking Jared Goff or Carson Wentz at number 1. Tennessee sat on the selection until they received an offer they couldn't refuse. The Rams' mega deal gave Mularkey and Robinson high-end picks to build through the draft. On draft night, the Titans continued making moves. John Robinson used the first and third round picks from the Rams trade, along with the Titans' second round selection, to move up from 15 to 8. With the 8th overall pick, the Titans selected Jack Conklin, an elite offensive tackle prospect from Michigan State. Conklin was a physical run-blocking specialist. He perfectly fit the mold of a Mularkey player. Unfortunately for the Browns, they missed badly on all 3 selections. These guys are actually part of a bigger trade tree that we'll definitely be talking about at some point. With the Rams' 43rd overall pick, the Titans selected Austin Johnson, a versatile defensive tackle from Penn State. At the 45th pick, the Titans took Heisman Trophy-winning Alabama running back Derrick Henry. Despite Henry dominating college football with Alabama, some analysts feared that at 6'3", 250, he was too big to succeed in the NFL. Tennessee decided to take a chance on Henry, drafting him to be DeMarco Murray's protege. In the 5th round, Tennessee orchestrated another trade that sent Denver the 6th round pick acquired from the Jack Conklin trade and another 6th rounder in exchange for a 5th and 7th. With the 5th round selection, the Titans selected LESHAUN Sims, a long run support corner from Southern Utah. With the last pick in the draft, Tennessee added cornerback Kalen Reed from Southern Miss. How did the class of 2016 fare? Well, let's start with Kalen Reed. Being the last pick of the draft, Reed was given the unfortunate distinction of being Mr. Irrelevant. In his 2 years with the Titans, he played in only 7 games and recorded 3 tackles with a pass defended. Before the start of the 2018 season, Tennessee officially waived the corner after suffering a broken foot. LESHAUN Sims spent 4 years in Tennessee, playing in 56 regular season games and starting in 11 of them. Sims was a regular special teams player, but also made fairly consistent appearances with the team's defense. He averaged just over 300 snaps in the defensive backfield per year. Finishing with 2 picks, 8 passes defended, and over 100 combined tackles, the DB proved to be a serviceable depth option found in the 5th round. Sims was allowed to walk in 2020 and signed with the Bengals. Austin Johnson was a decent to good contributor for the Titans in his 4-year career. In all, the interior defensive lineman played in 58 games and starred in 13 of them. With the arrival of Jeffrey Simmons in 2019, Johnson's role decreased. Overall, the defender ended his time with the franchise with 83 tackles and 2.5 sacks. Like Sims and Johnson, Jack Conklin had a 4-year career in Tennessee. Unlike Sims and Johnson, Conklin was an every-down player when available, starting in all 57 regular season games that he played in. The right tackle burst onto the scene in 2016. Being named first-team All-Pro as a rookie, Jack's sophomore campaign was strong, but ended on a painful note as the lineman tore his ACL in the Titans' divisional playoff loss to the Patriots. Conklin made a return in Week 4 of 2018, but his play dropped off as he battled injuries throughout the season. Jack had a bounce-back year in 2019. He started all 16 games, and although not all-pro level, was solid. But leery of giving a big contract after the injuries, the Titans let Conklin walk after the season. He signed a big deal with the Browns, the team who unknowingly traded him away in 2016. So let's talk about Derrick Henry. In just 7 seasons with Tennessee, Henry has already cemented himself as one of the franchise's greatest players. So far, he's rushed for over 8,300 yards with 78 touchdowns while averaging a Hall of Fame level 4.8 yards per carry. Earning the nickname King Henry along the way, the running back has made a habit of being a closer. In Week 14 of the 2018 campaign, Derrick broke onto the national scene by rushing for 238 yards and 4 touchdowns on only 17 carries. Ever since that night, he's been a full-fledged superstar. Derrick led the league in rushing in 2019 with 1,500 yards and 16 touchdowns. He reached new heights in 2020 when he became only the 8th runner in league history to cross the 2,000-yard mark. For his efforts, he was named AP Offensive Player of the Year. King Henry was on pace to become the first player to rush for back-to-back 2,000-yard seasons in 2021 before a foot injury derailed his year. He returned in 2022 with 1,500 yards and 13 touchdowns. In addition to regular season success, Derrick has had a tremendous postseason career, averaging over 100 rushing yards in 7 games. Henry was the driving force of the Titans' incredible 2019 run to the AFC title game under head coach Mike Vrabel. Henry ran for a combined 377 yards in Tennessee's upset wins over the Patriots and top-seeded Ravens. Thanks to his 3 Pro Bowls and numerous All-Pro selections, Derrick Henry has become the beating heart of the Titans franchise. Pretty good for a second-rounder who analysts doubted from the jump. Going back to our trade tree, the Titans still had a first and third round selection in the 2017 draft. Since the Rams were awful in Jared Goff's first year, the first rounder turned into the 5th overall pick. With the selection, the Titans selected wide receiver Corey Davis from Western Michigan. In the third, Tennessee selected Jonnu Smith, an uber-athletic tight end from FIU. For Davis, a top 5 selection meant that he had no choice but to become a superstar. Although he went to a small school, he displayed all the traits of a top-level receiver. In his 4-year career with the Titans, Davis never developed into that game-changing player though. Excluding his injury-plagued rookie season, Davis averaged about 800 yards and 4 touchdowns per year. Those are not terrible numbers, but for someone drafted so high, the performance was a huge letdown. After his second year, Davis was immediately beat out by rookie A.J. Brown as the team's top pass catcher. Corey had his best year as a pro in 2020 and parlayed it into a big contract with the Jets in 2021. Jonnu Smith had a productive 4-year career in Tennessee. He finished with 114 catches, more than 1,300 receiving yards, and 16 touchdowns. Every year, Smith improved and was constantly complimented for always being a team-first player and hard worker. After reeling in a career-high 8 touchdowns in 2020, Jonnu signed a large contract with the Patriots, where he spent 2 years before being dealt to the Falcons. So far, that's the entire history of the Titans side of the trade. This tree has potential to grow though in the next couple of years. Despite building one of the most successful teams over the last 5 years, GM John Robinson was fired in late 2022. Mike Vrabel was close to being on the hot seat after repeated playoff failure and a poor 2022. Even Derrick Henry's future is in the air at the moment, as rumors have been circulating that the Titans could go full rebuild mode and trade their franchise cornerstone. Overall though, we can say that the Titans side of the trade tree was a success. All but one player stayed in Tennessee for the duration of their rookie contract, which is extremely rare in these trade trees. Although not every player turned into a superstar, the players helped usher in a new era of success for Titans football. At the very least, management can hang their hat on drafting King Henry. So that's the entire history of the 2016 Jared Goff trade, at least so far. If Matt Stafford or Derrick Henry are traded, we'll definitely revisit this video at a later date. So who do you think won this trade? Let me know in the comments below. In addition, give me some suggestions of other trades you want to see explored. If you like this video, please consider leaving a like. Production has already started on the next Trade Tree episode, so please subscribe to be the first to see it when it drops. That's all I got today. Please stay safe, and I hope you have a good one.